Greetings from the entertainment world, the University of the Game Master. We're sitting down with DJ Alex Brown, who this is like a second dip. You know, sometimes people, they ask me a question, I answer the question, and then they come back for some more information. Or, well, that's the way it was, 6 months, a year ago. But now I want to know if things have changed. And of course, what we're talking about today are not school dances, but daddy daughter, father daughter, possibly mother son youth events. And I have a funny story to start things off before we get to Alex, because I just recently did daddy daughter, father daughter dance. And it's typical that the DJ or the photographer or maybe the caterer, somebody at these events is actually connected to the school because their daughter or their son goes to that school, they're of that age. And sure enough, this photographer who has a daughter who is in 7th grade, this, getting this off my chest here, he comes over to me during the event and says, "Can you play something we can dance to?" And I look at him and I look at the dance floor and it's packed. I mean, everybody's dancing, the typical, DJ mantra. It's like, why would you, it's not broke, don't fix it. And sure enough, he looks at me and says, "Well, my daughter's in 7th grade." It's like, yes. And then he looks and he points, he says, "All these kids are, 3rd and 4th graders." I said, "Yeah, but they're dancing. They're having a great time with their dads." He's like, "Yeah, but my daughter's 7th grade." Well, then go to a middle school. It's a daddy daughter dance. They don't do them in 7th grade. Anyway,
right.
I'm just getting it off my chest. So What's your question? How can I help?
So I know probably 2 years ago at this point, we had spoke about the, I believe it was the mother-son dance and some games to do, because obviously at mother-son dances, generally it's more games and not as much with the dancing, the father-daughter dances. It's more of, some slow dancing and things like that.
Very astute. Let me just recap for those that are new to this. Girls dance with or without their dads. Boys, can we play?
Yeah.
Right. So you've made an astute observation here. There are exceptions, but for the most part, boys are not at this age, not quite yet ready to dance with mom. Okay. So
personally, I was supposed to do a mother-son dance before the pandemic, which ended up being canceled because of the pandemic. So I wanted to just refresh a little bit on the games for that to make sure I'm up to speed, because in a month or so, that event is going to be happening again, same school, same client, 2 years later. Of course, I want to deliver a great experience for the customer. And then I also want to have a quick discussion about what, say, you, Scott, would do for a father-daughter dance and how you would run something like that to do a good job for your client. Because again, that's also something that I've never done before.
Well, once again, every client is a little bit different. And if you do this for a school, what you'll discover is that just because it worked last year doesn't mean that it's going to work this year, or it went this way, last year, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to follow in that same progression. There is a running theme, but what you'll discover is each class or each year, they have different maturity levels, and that difference in the maturity levels will really not taint, but it will flavor what works or what doesn't work. There's no S there. What works or doesn't work. I'm doing a mitzvah, which is 12 to 13, but I'm guessing that you're even younger than that. You're probably in the, are you 8 to 10 range age?
For father-daughter and stuff? Yeah, that I believe it's 3rd to 5th grade for it. Maybe even the entire, it might be even 1 to 6, 1st grade to 6th grade.
Okay. 1st grade, very tough audience. They're still young, and they like to watch more than they like to do. And the problem with that is that they can't sit still because they've got all this boundless energy. And so the result is, while they're not necessarily ready to play games or to do dance routines, they also need something that's going to keep them moving. So you're in a challenge space there for first graders. Second, getting better. Third and fourth, that's your zone for playing. They're accustomed to following directions. You can communicate with them. They can communicate with you. There's not a breakdown in terms of communication, dialogue there. You're in a good place. Third, fourth. But by the time they turn fifth grade or sixth grade, they're already in the teeny tweeny zone, if you will, and their tastes and their interests have changed. And so while that seventh grader at the daddy daughter dance that I described was there, she was truly the exception, and was only there because dad was there. All right, back to your thing. I wanted to talk about boys, mitzvahs, as it relates to your question.
Yeah.
They will say, when you plan with the school or with the family that's having these kinds of youth events, do you want to dance or do you want to play games? And they'll say, we want to dance. And so you think, oh, I can leave my game stuff at home. No. And vice versa, by the way. If they say all they want to do is play games and you bring all your stuff, and then what happens? Turns out they want to dance. You never know. You really do need to have 2 game plans on the night of the event or on the day of the event, because you never know. And there may be a transition change where they're gaming at first, and now that they're accustomed with you, they're going to want to dance, or vice versa. They may start dancing and then they get bored. Can we play a game? So you need to have that toolbox of games ready to go just in case. Boys, they are tough. Do you know better or best?
I do. Yeah, you taught me that one 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
excellent.
So I have that one down.
That is without a doubt my go-to game, because it requires no understanding of anything other than I'm going to run this way, I'm going to run that way, I'm going to run this way, I'm going to run that way. For old school DJs, they know it as 7-Up Pepsi Cola. But with the name of the change, better or best, it makes for a better game, because each time you say better, they run to one side, or each time you say best, they run to the other side. And the rhyming of words with better and the rhyming with words of best creates this false start kind of thing. So that's still in the game playbook, if you will. So use that. Did we talk about stackers?
I don't think we did.
Okay, so stackers is probably not going to work with this age group if you have boys and girls, because they're that kind of thing, girls, yucky. But if you just have boys, you might be able to play this. Or if you just have girls, for sure you can play this. It does require chairs. I'm doing an event this weekend. They only have bench seats. So you got to be creative about this. But ideally, if you've got chairs, you can play this game. And everyone is in a circle in the chairs, and the chairs are actually facing out, not in. Typically, when you ask them to circle the chairs, the first thing they want to do is they think that they're going to face each other and that the chairs are facing in. But this particular game, the chairs are facing out. Everybody sits in the chair, and then they put something under their chair that is theirs, that tells them this is their chair, whether it's glasses or iPhone or piece of candy or whatever it is. That's my chair because my thing is underneath there. Then the object of the game is to return to your original chair. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Okay. What happens now is you, as the master of ceremonies, the game master, you're going to invite everyone who has something to move one chair. And I say to the right, but you could go to the left or you can go to the right. It doesn't matter. But once you start at a direction, you're moving in that direction. We'll say to the right, for this moment. So everybody who is breathing, stand up and move one chair to the right. Well, that's everybody unless they're dead. So they all stand up and then they move one chair to the right. And that's easy because that gets them familiar with how the game is played. Boom, you're off to the races. You're one chair closer to returning to your original chair. Next, everyone who is wearing tennis shoes, stand up and move one chair to the left. Now, most of them are going to be wearing tennis shoes, but there may be a few young men in dress shoes, or there might be somebody in sandals. So that means not everybody moves, but just some people move. And what happens is when they move, there's somebody sitting in that chair. That becomes what I call a stack, because the young man has to sit on the lap of the person who's already sitting in that chair. And that is what I refer to as a one stack. Now, while they think that the object of this game is to return to their original chair, that's not true. The truth is, just between us, that the object of the game is to create the largest, longest stack of kids that are all sitting on the lap of the person who is sitting on the chair. And the way that you do that is you continue to move them with people who have glasses, one chair to the right, people who have a watch or an iPhone, even if it's under your chair, people who have a ring or any kind of jewelry. And again, you keep moving them and the stacks will change, where you'll have one stack and then there's nobody stacked and then you have a three stack. It keeps moving. But at some point when you have like 2 or 3 stacks in this circle of chairs, then you say, everybody who's in a stack, move to the closest stack. Now all the stacks are moving and you've got this huge long line of kids that are all, sitting on somebody's lap. And it's not like a pylon where the weight is all on one person, because they're only the weight of the person who's in front of them. But the stack is funny. It's a very photographic moment and it's fun. And by the way, you don't have to conclude this game. A lot of times people play a game and they think, well, the object of the game is what? To find a winner. No. See, I've already told you the object of this game is to build a stack. They don't know that. So, but at some point, pandemonium will ensue because they're all piled on top of each other trying to make this stack. And you don't look for a winner. You just simply say, okay, everybody grab your chairs. We're going to now do, and then you segue into the next game. There's no winner, there's no prize, there's no stopping of the motivation of the moment of the game. You're moving into the next game. And by the way, you can do this with musical chairs. In other words, you played stackers in a circle, you already have the chairs on the dance floor.
Right.
Now we're going to play musical chairs. I'm pretty sure you know how musical chairs is played, right? Where you have the chairs that are back to back in a row, and maybe one on each end, if you like, and then they have to walk, not run, right, around the chairs. And then when the music stops, you remove a chair. That is standard musical chairs, but we're game masters. We're going to do something way more entertaining. Okay. So as they're walking around the chairs, you'll do the traditional game first. Music stops, remove a chair. But when you remove a chair, the little boy goes, I'm out of the game. No, you're not out of the game. You're still in the game because you're now a judge. Oh, and this is the judge's corner. And all the judges are over here watching to make sure that every other little Johnny plays fair, right? Now, all of a sudden, they're important. But they get bored after a while of being a judge with nothing really to do other than watch. So you're going to put them to work, okay? And the way that you put them to work is you have additional props to keep everybody actually playing, including the judges. Add a hula hoop. So now when they're going around the chairs, they have to walk through these hoops, right? And the judge is holding the hoop and they have to walk through it. And maybe we're going to raise the hoop a little bit, like a limbo bar kind of thing, only it's up as opposed to, down. Then you can add other things to this experience and change the music to match the theme. Star Wars. And now this is not a lightsaber. It's not a blow up guitar. right? It's actually a limbo bar. And now we're playing limbo and musical chairs at the same time. And you don't have just one bar, but you've got 4, 5, 6 judges holding the guitars, and they're going under the bar as they're trying to get to their chair when the music stops. Okay. And then you get them to walk backwards. You get them to hop like bunnies. You get them to cover their eyes, get the judges to cover their eyes. Just all kinds of different things that expand the meaning of this game. So it's never just, well, we play musical chairs all the time and it's the same thing. Now all of a sudden it's a total gaming experience. You can add a ball where every time they pass the judge hands them the ball. They have to bounce the ball until they get to the next judge. Maybe it's not a bounce ball. Maybe it's a kick like a soccer ball. Or maybe you're going to get them to juggle 2 balls, not 3. So these are more props. By the way, Nerf balls, not baseballs, not softballs, Nerf balls, because everybody's getting
8-year-old
bopped on the
boys and
beater.
baseballs, that's an accident waiting to happen.
Thank you. And notice how what we've done is instead of having a winner, we've segued into the next game. All right. And while they're looking for a winner, you're looking for fun. So at some point, you're going to, because you want to get rid of the chairs, or you want to move into the next moment, all the boys go find mom. And they think, oh, I'm going to have to dance with mom. No, play a game where it's the boys versus the women, right? And now the activity can be myriad of all kinds of things. Did we talk about the get naked game?
No.
Okay. So first of all, let me say that I call it the get naked game, but you don't have to say that. But
Right.
Little kids are going to go, oh, whoa, yeah, kind of thing, which may or may not be fun depending on your audience. So check with your client and ask, do you want to have fun with the name? Because you could play the same game and call it something else. You don't have to call it Get Naked. But the fact that it's called Get Naked, it makes it funny. So now you have moms on one side, you have boys on the other, and it's a relay race where it's the adults versus the kids. And you have at the front 2 separate stacks of what I call moo stuff. Do you know what a moo dress is? No. You're too young to know what a moo dress is. A moo dress is the size of a cow, which is why it's called a moo. It's just huge, right? I mean, you're swimming in it. Even a big adult, for the adult stack, you want something that's like quadruple X, if you will. All right, it's big. And the object of this relay race is to run to the stack of clothes and put it on. It's the big dress, or it's big, like quadruple X shorts that the kids have to put on, and they keep dropping to the ground kind of thing, and the shirt that they're just swimming in. And then it's a funny hat and funny glasses, maybe some big, clown slippers or something, and they have to put all this stuff on. But it's not enough that they put it on. They have to put it on and then take a selfie with all this stuff on. And it's not enough that they took the selfie. They have to text it to who? To DJ Alex Brown. Now you have their picture and their phone number. So you can then send them the picture. Well, they already got the picture, but maybe mom wants all the pictures, or maybe you can send them a thank you for attending this event, right? So there's added marketing value to the game that you're playing. And typically what happens is the kids will finish first and the adults will still be lagging behind. And this is your opportunity to then say, Mom, next time your child says they can't get ready in time, this is proof they can. Again, humor. You can also cheat. And cheating is allowed, by the way. Okay. And what I mean by that is if you think that the adults are going to win, well, then just start moving the pile of stuff further away. Right.
Yeah.
Or as they're running back to tag the next person who runs over to the pile, you pick up, one of the shoes and you throw it. Just throw it. across the room, and now they got to go get it. Or maybe their team members are going to, are hip to your shenanigans, and they're going to run over and bring it back to the pile, because that's where they got to get dressed, take the selfie and all that. Fun. Do you need a tissue by any chance?
No.
Of course you do. You definitely need a tissue. This box is too big, by the way. But you want to get, and I say 2 boxes, but you could use 1. No, you can't use 1. You can use 3. You can use 4, depending on how many teams you have. But 2 boxes is all you need. And one of those, square rectangle boxes is large enough. Put it 1 here, 1 there. Either it's kids versus kids or adults versus adults, 3rd grade versus 4th grade, however you want to, put it together, right?
Yeah.
The object of this game is to run to the tissue box, pull out a tissue, right? There it is. Tag then a person in the relay, and they run and get a tissue. And then about halfway through, when you think that their box is almost empty, because they think the object of the game is to empty the box, although you haven't really said that, you just simply say, take a tissue.
Right.
Halfway through, and the tissues are all over the floor, right? Then you let them know, you better hang on to those tissues. You might need them later in the game. Oh, right? So now, once they bring you their empty box and say, look, it's empty, right? No tissue. You say, no. You're only halfway done. Now you have to put all the tissue back into the box. So now they're all scrambling to get their tissues back in the box. It's a big funny thing. I'm sure you have a wireless microphone.
Yeah.
And every DJ these days does. And so you'll then announce the first team to bring the DJ their full box of tissue wins, right? But as you're saying this, you're walking away. You're walking outside the room. You're going someplace else where they cannot find you. And your mic is still live, so they hear you, right? And you're saying, just bring me the box and you'll be the winning team. And they can't find you. And they're like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Very funny stuff. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. I mentioned shoes. So here's not dog pile, but shoe pile. And you invite all the contestants, boys, girls, adults, if they're playing, to put their shoes in this pile of shoes, right? And then you get them to do something that distracts them. And the distraction could be anything. All right, everybody that's playing this game, I know you've worked up a thirst, so go get something to drink and come back. And when they're going to get something to drink and then they come back, you're now tossing the shoes everywhere in the room, anywhere, under the table, over here, over there. You're just tossing them. And by the way, the same pair are not in the same place. So this one's brown, it goes this way. This one's brown, it goes that way. This is a pair. Woo! Okay, they go everywhere. And then all of a sudden they'll catch what's going on, and then you'll announce, okay, first person back with their shoes on wins. Boom. Oh my God! Again, more pandemonium. Okay, just, those are some things you can do. Did we talk about any of these the last time we chatted?
I can't quite recall. I have a
okay. Well, then there are some games you can play.
yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Questions, answers, ideas?
As far as layout, more specifically of a father-daughter dance, what's the layout of those specifically? I believe the one that I'm doing is 4 hours. Actually, I think that's for the other school. I think the one coming up this weekend is 3 hours.
Wow.
So
4 hours and 3 hours, you need to coach your clients. That is a long dance.
yeah.
And the key word there is dance, because they're not going to dance that long. If I were you, I would definitely coach them on possibly doing the daddy-daughter dances that I do are 2 to 3 hours. It's like, come in, have some fun, and get out of here. The dads typically, or the mothers, they don't last that long.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it a 4-hour dance, that is again, if you've got food, other attractions, other things going on, maybe.
Right.
But I would coach you against anything that's that long. I'm looking to see if I can find um, a picture. Did we talk about the video screen,
Yes, I think we talked
the
about
big
that the
screen?
last time we spoke. Yeah.
Okay. I cannot emphasize enough how powerful that screen is. The idea that you can set up, and again, it depends on the size of the room. A lot of times they have screens already in the room, and then you just need to plug up to them. But if you've got, and it's the same little camcorder that I'm using right now, my little Logitech, you got one of those, right? Just pop that on top of your monitor or whatever, and it points to the dance floor. You are golden. Then all of a sudden they start dancing and the camera turns on and that's us, look, endless fun of them just watching themselves jump up and down. They never get tired of it. And by the way, it's quiet fun. It's not like you handed them the microphone. That's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And they do like to play with the microphone, but I wouldn't recommend that. And then, did we talk about red carpet?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Red carpet also still very popular, but it may require a second person. It requires a little extra work. Most people don't want to work that hard, but taking pictures as they arrive before they get all, undone, they take their jackets off and they're running around, they're all sweaty in their hairs, everywhere. Before all that happens, take those pictures and they're a huge wow. All right. What else you got? A setup. You know what? It does not need to be concert equipment.
Yeah. I mean, this all just be bringing, basically two speakers, a microphone,
There you go.
lights.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Simple.
Lights are better now, but if you have old school lighting, they get hot.
Yeah, no, I have all LED stuff.
Okay, so then you're fine. But the old school stuff gets hot, and that you got to be careful for kids with that. But I'll tell you, the daddy daughter dance that I did, they were outside under this like picnic area, and they had security lights that came on. So it's like, well, leave all the lighting in the car because you're not going to see any of that with those lights on, even though it was nighttime. So again, know what the situation is. And some gymnasiums or multi-purpose rooms, they have, what's called emergency lighting, and those lights don't go off. So when you talk about setup, take those things into consideration so that you know where you can put stuff that will be seen and where you can see.
Yeah, I actually had a dance, a high school dance in a gym in February that as I'm setting up, they're trying to get the lights off. They replaced the lights with LEDs in the gym during the COVID, shutdowns and everything. And they're like, we can't get these lights off. They're calling the janitors, calling all these people. And 2 hours into the dance, they figured out how to get them off by, turning a breaker off because it was hardwired security lights. There was no switch or anything to shut them off.
And you were, even 2 hours in, you were lucky that they flipped the breaker because a lot of times, because it's security, they won't even turn them off.
Yeah. And I mean, in this case, it was, it's a private high school in the state that, the students were very upset about this for their homecoming dance that was happening 6 months later because it was COVID. And, students were coming up to me saying, we need to get these lights off. My mom is a big donor of the school. And, I knew at that point that they were going to be getting them off because at the end of the day, it's just like a college,
that
they
is funny.
the funding. So they did get them off, which was great.
And there you go. And you're a trooper, and I'm sure you took all the berating, turn these damn lights off kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this post. It was in one of the DJ groups, but a DJ was at a gymnasium, kind of a workout place, not a school gym. And I got the impression it may have been a youth event, but sure enough, they came over and yanked the plug on his equipment and said, "You're supposed to be done at 4 o'clock." And he was like, "No, my contract says 5." And they said, "No, no, you're done, yank." And it just unplugged his equipment.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that you need to work with the venue. The
Yeah.
house has rules and you need to follow them, whether that's lighting rules, start and end time, sound ordinance, all of those things. Be respectful. It'll keep you in
Yeah.
business.
I actually had that happen this weekend, not with, pulling the plug out of the wall, but generally, so I had a wedding Saturday that I did, and I had gone to the venue, looked at their coordination there was really, really bad. When I toured, they said, "You're going to be set up in that corner." And I start setting up in that corner after the ceremony because it was indoor. And then she says, "Oh, no, we're going to have you towards the center now. We changed things around." And so I'm moving towards the center, and I'm like, "Gee, you want me to set up in front of these exit doors? That's kind of weird." And then 10 minutes later, she's coming in saying, "Oh, I meant over there." I'm like, "Point and tell me where you want it, please."
Wow.
And this kind of went on the whole night with everything. I don't know if she's new to working with couples and vendors and such, but it was very disorganized, especially for a nicer venue. But 10:31, she comes over and says, "Is this the last song?" And I said, "Well, on my organizer, they put the end time as 10:55. And normally, see, I did slip up because normally I send the organizer to the photographer, the venue, ahead of time and say, "Okay, here's what I have from the couple. Any questions, let me know." And I did review it with her at the start of the night too, but we usually don't go over and last song time. And she says, "Okay, well, play one more song and then the last song." And, because they are supposed to end at 10:30. And, it went okay because, if they come over to me, I'm not going to be like, "No, it goes to," at the worst case scenario, I'm saying, "Okay, thanks. I'm going to go let my client know."
Right.
And that way it's not totally on me, but yeah.
You're doing all the right things, Alex. And thank you for double dipping and joining us again today to talk about youth events and daddy-daughter, mother-son dances. It's been a treat.
Appreciate it, Scott. Thank you.